So in the field of physics, there's a really famous saying, and that is that the concept of nuclear fusion is always about 20 years away. In the 1980s, the promise of being able to power cars and cities with this amazing energy source that was nuclear fusion was about 20 years away. And then in the early 2000s, it was still about 20 years away. And now nuclear fusion looks like it might be coming in the next 20 years or so. But I'm not in physics, I'm in medicine. And specifically, I'm in my second and final year of my family medicine training. And it seems like for the last 20 years, the concept of a 3-year family medicine residency program here in Canada has always been about 20 years away. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Gianluca, aka Dr. Calcagno, and yes, I am a soon to be second year family medicine resident. Here to discuss a little bit of an open letter. In the time before YouTube, doctors would write letters to academic papers and publish in journals and have conversations about insights about the profession with each other. But now we have YouTube videos, and today I'm going to be talking about why I think making the family medicine residency program here in Canada 3 years instead of the current 2 years is a terrible idea. I don't support it. These are my arguments, and I would love to hear from everyone. That's the whole point of making YouTube videos instead of publishing on academic papers and forums and things like that, because the exposure here is so much broader. We could have insight and conversation actively from the public as well as from people of the community, and I'd love to get your thoughts. I don't think it's a good idea. Apparently it's coming. I don't think it will, but you guys let me know what you think about it in the comments section below. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I have 3 reasons as to why I don't think this is a good idea, and will probably do the opposite of the intended purpose set out by the potential increase in residency length, and that is to bring more people to the profession of family medicine. I think that if you made the residency training longer, you'd actually have less interest in it, and these are my 3 reasons why. And for the record, I am totally not against additional training for family medicine residents and family medicine doctors that want that additional training. I just don't think that it should be mandated, because we need to keep in mind that not everyone is going to work family medicine the exact same way. There is so much variety and different interests that people can take, and we could talk about that later on. But I am in favor of more training if you want to, just not mandating anything. Reason number 1 is that the process to become a family doctor is already, even though we say it is one of the shortest residency training programs anywhere in the world, there's so much that isn't actually included in that in terms of training that we have that other people don't necessarily have. The process to become a doctor, any type of doctor here in Canada, requires that you first go through high school and then some amount of undergrad training, minimum 3 years. But we know that as this process of getting into medical school has become more competitive, someone that wants to go into family medicine might have to do an undergrad and then a master's in an effort to try and make them more competitive, such that many people coming out of medical school might be in their late 20s or early 30s, and by adding on additional training, that might actually disincentivize these people who want to actually start their life and get into the workforce from sticking around and actually pursuing family medicine. Like, just thinking about it, 4 years in undergrad, then 2 in a master's, and then 4 years of medical school, and then an additional 2 years of residency is 12 years of additional training. And if someone didn't go directly from high school to pre-med, if they took a few years to figure out that they want to pursue medicine, then they started university maybe when they were 22, even 23 years old, plus another 12 years, that becomes suddenly a big turnoff for mature students that were possibly thinking about being family doctors. The second reason why, and I kind of alluded to it before, is that not every single family medicine resident right now thinks that they need an additional year of training in order to work very confidently as a family physician in a variety of different settings. For example, many of my friends, and myself included, I am very confident in my residency program and think that they've done a fantastic job exposing me to rural medicine, the emergency department, OBGYN. There is so much that we will be put through, and I still have a whole additional year of training. I feel like I'm progressing quite well, and I know with certainty that many of my friends and colleagues don't actually think that they need an additional year. Now, that's not to say that that applies to everyone. I do have some friends that are going to be applying to the +1 program for emergency medicine or anesthesiology, and I think those programs should be supported. If you want that additional training, I think that we should be focusing more on making those positions available, whether you want an additional 6 months, 1 year in rural medicine, in emergency, in anesthesia, in OBGYN. but not mandating that everyone stick around for additional training if, for example, they just chose to work in the inner city at a family medicine practice that they've established and will most likely just be doing clinic-based medicine for the majority of their practice. And then finally, the last reason why that I'm going to talk about now, there are more. We could be here for a very long time, but these are the three biggest ones. I feel like I've done a reasonable job at talking to pre-meds and medical students. I've really tried to survey many different people that are in the pathway right now, going through the pipeline on their way to become some sort of doctor here in Canada. And when you look at the stats every single year, as I've been doing, and we're going to break that down further in a future video either next week or the week after, for the last 5 years, all of the data that we have on the CARM's website actually shows that every single year, family medicine is becoming less and less desirable to match into. At a certain point, one of the things that people decide about when they're deciding what type of residency that they want is how much that specialty is going to pay, and then how much additional training, how long they're going to be making a lesser salary for in working the crazy hours of residency. Now, we have specialties like internal medicine that are 4 years long to become a specialist, an internal medicine specialist. But if we increased family medicine to 3 years, then many students have told me that that increase from a 2-year to a 3-year program, well, now a 3-year family medicine program is almost basically a 4-year internal medicine program where I could be a specialist and probably make more money for the exact same amount of time that I'm putting in. So why don't I just stick around for that additional year? And in that way, I feel like we will be siphoning many people that would have got into family medicine to now pursue some of the medical specialties, where in reality, what we are showing is that yes, we need many different types of doctors here in Canada, but we are currently experiencing a family medicine crisis. And I feel like if you're trying to bring more people to the specialty, we shouldn't be putting up barriers and trying to incentivize them to go to another specialty altogether. So that's my video. Those are my thoughts and arguments. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to this. And that is that we've established that we need more family doctors in a variety of different areas here in Canada. And I feel like, at least from what I've seen so far, the only way that we're going to do that is by incentivizing the position as well as the locations that we really need these people to go and work. And to me, an additional year of training might actually serve as more of a barrier than a true incentive to bring more people to these areas and to work this particular job. Now, I've made a whole video about it in the past. There are many different strategies that I think that we could use to incentivize family medicine a little bit more. You can watch the video, I'll have the link somewhere up here if you want to learn a little bit more. But on one final note before I sign off, I don't think that this 3-year family medicine is actually going to happen. I know the 2027 deadline has been given as to when the changes will start, but I truly do think that the concept of a 3-year family medicine program here in Canada will always be 20 years away. Right now, my residency is still 2 years. From everyone that I've spoken to, and I won't name any names, but I've tried my best to seek out some people that are a little bit more involved in this decision-making process, and it seems like they have been coming up to some roadblocks recently. Different provinces might not exactly be on board with the strategy that they originally thought that they were going to be able to go ahead and do. But I'd love to hear from everyone in the comment section below. Do you think this is a good idea? Maybe I'm wrong. I will fully admit that. It's very possible that I'm wrong. And if someone could prove to me that this is going to solve the crisis, then I'll be on board. But in the meantime, I remain very respectfully skeptical at this time. But teach me something in the comments. We'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Everyone, take care.